Thank you. A battleship was at exercise in dark and stormy weather. The proud captain, neatly attired, chest adorned with medals, feet spread apart, was standing on the bridge issuing commands and surveying the performance of his team. The lookout, whose job it was to be aware of difficulty, suddenly spots a light from another ship on the starboard side, and he informs the captain of the presence of the ship, to which the captain asks, "Is the ship steady or is it moving?" "Steady," comes the reply. The captain, keenly aware that the two ships are now headed towards each other, ordered the lookout to signal to the other ship, "Change course, 20 degrees. We are on a collision course." The signal from the other ship comes back, "No, it is advisable for you to change course, 20 degrees. The captain sends back another message, "I am a captain in the United States Navy and have commanded this nation's finest battleships over the course of 30 years. And so it is advisable for you to change course 20 degrees. Back comes a response from the other ship, "I am an Eagle of Boston College, class of 2020, keeper of the Ignatian flame, and I respect your service. But you are the one who must change course 20 degrees. And the captain is now furious and drops any pretense of politeness. And he says, "I am a 50,000-ton battleship, and you will not survive a collision with this vessel. For the last time, change course." Silence fills the air, and back comes a message from the Eagle, "I am a lighthouse. It's your decision." Now, in the interest of full disclosure, that story did not actually happen. That joke has actually been around for quite some time, but I am quite confident that I am the very first one to make that lighthouse keeper a Boston College graduate. And why I did so, well, we're going to get to that in a moment. So good morning, family. Thank you very much, Father Leahy, Chairman Fish, Father Keenan, fellow members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty and staff, and honored guests, and distinguished alumni. Thank you for your presence today as we come to celebrate this extraordinary class of 2020 and their families who have traveled from all over the world and join us from all over the world to be part of what has been a very long-awaited day. You know, the truth of it is that the work of this university over the last year and a half was never really going to be fully complete until this class of 2020 was reconvened. There has been a gap in our memory of this class until we saw you again and until you saw each other again, although I'm proud to report that you look just as beautiful as you did in March of 2020. It really has been quite an honor for me to have formed such a wonderful relationship with you over the years, to have watched your trajectory during your time at the Heights, to see your successes both here and beyond. And from the time that I had the wonderful privilege to be your convocation speaker, I have come to call many of you my friend, and I have been honored to have been considered by you a friend in return. And it occurs to me that probably the only thing that I could do to harm that friendship is by going on too long with my commencement remarks. Wisdom is a gift, but so is brevity, and I promise to err on the side of the latter today so that you can continue on with the celebration. Or given some of the festivities I was watching yesterday, perhaps it might be more like a recovery. But you are back home. The traditional role of the commencement speaker is to offer words of counsel and advice, but the truth of it is that this is not a traditional commencement, and besides, I'm not entirely convinced that this is really the time for that. The fact of the matter is that you've been out in the world for some time now, and that world is a lot different than the one that you thought that you might enter. A global pandemic, an economic meltdown, a polarizing political culture with three convergent storms that none of us could have anticipated. And while this has been challenging for all of us, it has been especially challenging for you because the world that you entered changed so dramatically just as you were stepping into it. So it has indeed required you to be resilient, to stand strong, to have faith, and to still serve in despite all of the extraordinary circumstances. So, no, my friends, a class that has demonstrated all the noble qualities of the Lighthouse does not necessarily need to hear the words of advice, well-intended though they may be. But I will make a small, humble request of you shortly. Many of you quietly wondered in your sudden departure from this campus in March of 2020 whether or not this was the end of your time at this university. This cannot be how it ends, you might have thought. But I want to assure you that it was not going to end that way. It was never going to end that way. And it's not just because we were determined and resolved that we would have this day for you and your family and loved ones. It's because the Boston College experience is never really measured by a specific time or place, but over the span of a lifetime, because that is how long it takes to realize just how treasured your time here really was, that you developed friendships here that you could have never found anywhere else, and they will be your anchor, your compass, your guide for the rest of your life. You will be in each other's weddings. You will be godparents to one another's children. You'll take on some great entrepreneurial risk together. You'll celebrate one another's successes and stand shoulder to shoulder in times of uncertainty. And as time and as life moves on, I suspect you'll see that your time at Boston College really was only just the beginning. You know, if you study lighthouses, as I have come to, you are called the phorologist. It is an acknowledgement of the first attested lighthouse, constructed on the Greek island of Pharos. So I can tell you as a quasi-phorologist that as a practical matter, the lighthouse really is no longer necessary. Technology has rendered these architectural marvels nearly obsolete, and yet still they endure. The reason for this, as near as I can tell, is that the lighthouse, the savior of the sea, exists now not to help us navigate the sea, but to help us navigate humanity, to show us and provide to us a perpetual reminder of how we ought to be with one another and how we ought to be to one another. Lighthouses are perhaps the most selfless structure that humankind has ever created. It serves no purpose other than to be of service to another, to simply be a beacon in times of uncertainty and chaos. It is faithful, steadfast, humble, resilient. It seeks neither reward nor recognition. It is not concerned about one's race, gender, or faith expression. It neither qualifies your distress nor renders judgment on your uncertainty. Nor does it care about your title, where you stand on a specific social issue, or who you voted for in the last election. The lighthouse is only concerned about protecting your journey, and in doing so, sees our common humanity. And you, class of 2020, really have been the embodiment of the lighthouse. Even now, as we continue to try to find safe harbor, you continue to remind us of the lessons of the lighthouse. We all have been reminded through your example of the importance of family and friendship and common humanity that really does connect us. We better understand that God's greatest gifts to us, whether that be the miracle that is life the sanctuary that is this planet, or the national treasure that is democracy, is only as strong as our willingness to protect and defend it. That, too, is an epiphany. You've reminded us that the seemingly everyday, ordinary people, those who have stood on the front lines of a pandemic, like our friends and colleagues in the School of Nursing, those are the most authentic heroes in the world today. And you've reminded us that each day and each interaction provides us an opportunity to be a lighthouse to another and to find one for ourselves. For as the Irish proverb reminds us, it is in the shelter of each other that the people live. During this pandemic, I lost a kind and gracious man in John Sykes, who once provided me shelter when I was just a young boy. And there is not a time I step on this campus that I am not reminded of the day John dropped me off on the Newton campus to begin my college career. Several weeks ago, we also lost my mother-in-law, Shirley Bush, who provided my wife, Tanya, shelter and protection. Both of them were human lighthouses for us, and because they were, Tanya and I have come to call Boston College our home. And now it is the same for our son, Quinn. I suspect some of your own lighthouses have joined you here today. Lighthouses, indeed, are all around us and in this very place. Phyllis Dunn comes here today to see her grandson, John Dunn, graduate. Aunt Andrea from Texas and Grandma Beatty from Chicago have joined us to see Michael Osage walk across the stage. Hina Nisarelli, whose family is actually watching this commencement on live stream from Madagascar, is also a lighthouse. I spoke with her just a few minutes ago, and she said that her family could not travel here, so she, a nurse, has been joined by a client, affirming for us that family is not just what you're born into, it's also who you find along the way. It is said that your commencement speaker is your last college professor, and that this address is actually your last lecture. And if indeed that is the case, then I do have a final assignment for you. You have to let the lighthouses in your life know just how important they are to you. Write to them, call them, text them, and if they are no longer with us, say a silent prayer of gratitude to them. And your assignment is indeed due today, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. There are nearly 23,000 lighthouses standing in the world today, but on Monday, May 18th of 2020, we conferred 2,332 more, because the most powerful lighthouses in the world have always been the human ones, which leads me to my final request of you. Let your life be a lighthouse. Let your life be a lighthouse for this university that will always treasure you. Let your life be a lighthouse for the community that raised you and celebrates you. Let your life be a lighthouse for a world that does indeed summon you. Let your life be a lighthouse for your family that loves you. In small ways and in big ways, but on every day, let your life be a lighthouse. Thank you, Boston College class of 2020, and may God continue to bless you in all that you do. Thank you.